Last Week Tonight with John Oliver is an American late-night talk show airing Sundays at 11 p.m. on HBO in the United States and Canada and on Tuesday 10:00 p.m. on Sky Atlantic in the United Kingdom. The half-hour-long show premiered on Sunday, April 27, 2014, and is hosted by comedian John Oliver. Last Week Tonight shares some similarities with Comedy Central's The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, where Oliver was previously featured as a correspondent and fill-in host, exploring a satirical look at news, politics and current events on a weekly basis. Oliver's contract with HBO lasts 2 years with an option for more. Oliver says he has full creative freedom, including free rein to criticize corporations. That freedom may be facilitated in part by HBO's ad-free subscription model. Oliver and HBO programming president Michael Lombardo have discussed extending the show from half an hour to a full hour and airing more than once a week after Oliver gets his feet under him. Production: Oliver described his preparations for the show to an interviewer for The Wire. "I basically have to watch everything. The only thing I kind of watch for pleasure is Fareed Zakaria's show on Sundays. That and 60 Minutes I watch for pleasure, or maybe Frontline. I have a TV on in my office all the time and I'll generally flick around on that from CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Bloomberg, CNBC, Al Jazeera. I'm watching with a certain thing in mind and that is how to see a story told badly." He admitted to another interviewer that he is concerned about dealing with old news: "If something happens on a Monday, realistically all the meat is going to be picked off that bone by the time it gets to us. There's probably barely a point in doing it. I think we'll be attracted to some extent by stories that are off the grid. Our show may end up skewing more international in terms of stories." Tim Carville, executive producer of Last Week Tonight, explained to an interviewer how the cast and crew deal with the half hour of Oliver speaking without any commercial breaks. "Structural considerations are leading to changes in the content in the show that will inherently make it different from The Daily Show. We realized early on, you don't necessarily want to hear anybody talk to you for a half an hour straight, even John, who is very charming, so we are constructing these little, produced comedy elements that will serve the function of commercial breaks throughout the show, which will let us get out of the studio, get us away from John's voice and break the show up a bit." Carville also revealed that HBO gave them freedom in choosing guests for the show, advising them not to feel obligated to feature celebrities. When asked by an interviewer about correspondents such as those featured on The Daily Show, Oliver replied, "We're not going to be a parody news show, so no people pretending to be journalists." Episodes, reception: Oliver's debut show garnered 1.11 million viewers. The number of viewers online, through websites such as YouTube showing extended clips of different segments, have steadily climbed into multiple millions. Hank Stewart of The Washington Post compared Oliver's program with The Daily Show several times in his review of Oliver's debut, another scathing, stick-it-to-'em critique of American mass media and politics shellacked in satire and delivered by a funny if almost off-puttingly incredulous man with a British accent. "Exactly like The Daily Show, the goal is to make elected and appointed officials, as well as just about any corporate enterprise, look foolish and inept while slyly culling together television news clips that make the media look equally inept at covering such evident truths." James Ponyazic of Time similarly compared Last Week with The Daily Show, but also wrote that the full half-hour gives Oliver the room to do more, and praised Oliver's sharper tone and his globalist, English outsider perspective, as well as his genuine passion over his subjects. Ponyazic wrote that Oliver's debut was a funny, confident start. The Entertainment Weekly review began by ringing the same changes. "The fear with Last Week Tonight is that it's The Daily Show except once a week, a staggered timeline that would rob the basic news punning format of its intrinsic topical punch." The first episode of his HBO series didn't stray far from the Jon Stewart mothership, stylistically. However, the reviewer, Darren Franick, liked that Oliver has a half hour of television that is simultaneously tighter and more ambitious, that the extra production time leads to sharper gags but also the ability to present more context, and thought that the debut had plenty of funny throwaway lines. Franick appreciated Oliver's coverage of the 2014 upcoming India election, which the American press was largely ignoring, and, like Ponyazic, praised Oliver's passion. Franick concluded that Last Week Tonight suggested the sharpest possible version of its inspiration, and that it should feel like an experiment, but felt almost fully formed. The reviewer for Slate was ambivalent, writing that the show is obviously a work in progress, and that one segment felt like misplaced overkill, but also that it is good use of a weekly show, and it was funny to boot. Gawker's Jordan Sargent claimed Last Week Tonight was the new Daily Show, while simultaneously criticizing The Daily Show for abandoning those who have moved on from caring about Fox News and Republicans. A segment from Last Week Tonight on Prime Minister of Australia Tony Abbott received widespread attention in Australia across the mainstream media and was trending on social media. International broadcast, in Hungary, the show premiered on May 2, 2014 and airs at 8 p.m. on Fridays on HBO Comedy with subtitles and is also available on HBO Go. It airs in Australia on the Comedy Channel, where it airs hours after the US airing. In the United Kingdom it is broadcast on Tuesdays on the satellite-only channel Sky Atlantic. References. External links, official website, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver at the Internet Movie Database, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver at TV.com, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on Facebook, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver's channel on YouTube, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on Twitter.